First of all, I'd like to also give some rudimentary about my background. I did my master's was in education and philosophy with a major in critical and creative thinking. And then my doctorate is applied management and decision sciences and majoring in leadership and organizational change. One of my areas of interest in research has been sonic therapeutic intervention. And in sonic therapeutic intervention, it's all about how we utilize sound in harnessing our goals. How we utilize transcendental sound in providing solutions to challenges that might seem like unaddressable with secular or allopathic strategies. And therefore, we understand that, rudimentarily, sound is something is demonstrable, that sound saves lives. I give a gross example is when someone is driving, say, in the street, because highway, people are careful when they want to cross the highway, they go at a jet speed. But in the streets, say in the cities, sometimes people forget that they are on the street, and then they start moving majestically, as if, the road is the road is like their sitting room. And so when someone is driving and is coming, he sees that type of person crossing the road, you have to save that person's life, and to also save them, protect themselves from getting into traffic troubles, like if you kill someone, or if your car hits someone and then you're down the road, you'll be charged for manslaughter. And you could go to prison for donkey's years. So what the driver does to protect himself from getting into legal complications and to protect life, what does he do? He honks. Boom, boom. The sound, radiates and penetrates the passenger, or the guy who is the pedestrian. It penetrates his eardrum and stimulates his neurotransmitters, and he jumps off the road. He saves his life. And also, the driver is protected from litigation, from criminal traffic crime. And not only that, that's a gross example we can relate with. But researches have been conducted on the use of sound in even healings. Therapeutic healings are very prominent, and the use of sound vibration in creating a better mental health situations have also been demonstrated by research scientists, especially mental health challenges like stress, anxiety, depression. These are basically antithesis to academic excellence. Because if a student is having a mental health situation, that may really distract them significantly from their studies. And so the question of attaining mental health, academic excellence may be ruled out. And of course, researchers have come up with evidence that students in universities and colleges, specifically in the universities, 27% of students, this is a study that was conducted, out of 1,400 students that were in the study, 27% of those students were affected with academic distress. Academic distress simply means stress that is coming from the demands or the stressors of academic involvement. Like you have so many things to deal with, and then you don't have the resources to be able to deal with all of those things to meet your specific goal of academic excellence. And so they become like stressors. And the student, I remember even when I was in college, a number of the students few days of the exam, they fall ill, they're hospitalized. Even in the exam hall, students are taken out. They call the ambulance at 911 to take them out. So these are all due to the effect of academic distress. And 27% of our learners in our universities have this challenge. So it is a problem. Now, in research, we don't really talk about anything if you can't really prove that it's a problem. Or we don't even waste our time to conduct research when it is a general problem. Yeah, the general problem is that students encounter challenges in terms of their endeavor to attain or to graduate, to be successful in the career. But then to graduate is different from academic excellence. That is a minimum grade that a number of the universities set for graduation. Now, for academic excellence, for instance, in America, academic excellence is defined as a grade of 3.0 upwards. Because if you, for instance, you finish a master's, what determines you're going to what determines the eligibility for a PhD admission is 3.5. Most of the universities, they demand that you will have 3.5 to apply for admissions into a PhD program. I know the case of my university, that was the case. So that is the underlying factor of academic excellence. It's an idea or principle that you stand better chances for the future in terms of your career, professional development, because we have excelled beyond the average of simply graduation. And so you have a lot of prospects for the future. But here we are, 27% of our students, they are inflicted with academic distress. That means this very challenge inhibits students to attain high grade or academic excellence. And we have also the understanding from research scientists how sonic therapeutic intervention facilitates high grades amongst college students. For instance, in a qualitative research, in qualitative research, you don't need thousands of people, like the reference I made in terms of the researchers who conducted their study on the academic distress, where they found that 27% of students are inflicted with academic distress. There was like a chunk number of people, 1,400 people. And those research, they could take you such a long time to be able to, send questionnaires or get people to do some tests and all this stuff. Now, that is a quantitative research. There are three major approaches to research. There are three major methodologies. And you're doing a master's, you should know this. You're doing a PhD, you already know this. So, one methodology is the quantitative methods. The second is the qualitative. And the third is the mixed methods, which is an integration of quantitative, quant, and qualt. Quantitative and qualitative. That basically is what we call the mixed methods. Now, in qualitative research, the minimum subjects you can use in the qualitative research is 3. This is according to the quant gurus. I mean, the qualitative gurus. Now, in quantitative research, you need plenty people or plenty subjects to be able to get your results generalizable. Now, in a research that I also conducted, amongst PhD students. There was just about some few PhD students, more than 3. And what happens, all of them were involved they were practitioners of studying therapeutic intervention. Or sometimes the people in the other aisle, they call it mantra meditation. And specifically, in this very research, we utilize the Hare Krishna mantra or the Hare Krishna mantra intervention in trying to determine how the study therapeutic intervention facilitates academic excellence. In other words, how it helps people in promoting their grades. Now, in this research, what they found was that these practitioners who have been chanting, who have been involved in this practice for like 10 years to 25 years. That's a long time. And comparatively compared to other students who were not practitioners, say we call the other students the placebos. Because these other students who were not practicing, these students, they got 4.0 plus. 4.0 plus in your PhD. And so, that's one part of it. Now, another researcher came up with studies, he conducted a research on high school students. And that research was purely focused on the effect of mantra meditation on attention span and memory. That was, again, purely quantitative, scientific research. Now, he did all of that research, and at the conclusion was that mantra meditation had a positive effect on attention span and memory, comparing the control study, the placebo, and the control group. And so, this is an eye-opener for us because we can present this in a scientific way to be able to convince people that, look, this sound, the mundane sound that can even save lives on the road. By honking your car, you can save someone from being crushed with a vehicle. That same process or that same phenomenon is applicable on a higher realm, on a transcendental realm, when we involve or when we utilize transcendental sound vibrations in elevating the consciousness or elevating the activities of the neurotransmitters of the brain. In other words, this process helps in providing high cognitive skills. And so research, this is not something dogmatic. This is, you see, in management science, when we have to say something, or if in a presentation, the first question is, what is the problem you're trying to address? What is the problem that you're trying to address? If you're just coming to talk something that, a repetition of what some other people have said or what other people have, what we have heard from other people, if you're coming to tell us a story, we are not interested. This is our policy in management science. So as a management scientist, I don't tell stories. We like to talk about scientific values and present data that could help in leveraging society for a sustainable future. And because this very mantra meditation has been proven to be an effective tool for promoting mental health. For instance, Wald, he conducted his PhD at Florida State University, the effect of the Hare Krishna Mantra on stress, anxiety, and depression. And so you could Google that on the web. Effect of the Hare Krishna Mantra on stress, anxiety, and the gunas. Depression and the gunas. And so these are things that we could verify from the literature. And the important thing is that we're not talking about books that people have written or some assertions people have made, because anyone can write a book and say something. Now, in science, we don't just believe in books, we believe in research. And especially in the management sciences, we believe in publications that have been reviewed by specialists in the area. In other words, if some research is being conducted and published in a peer-reviewed journal, we know this has got a rubber stamp. Wow. It's been reviewed by specialists in the area, in the field. And so, what I am talking about is something very authentic. You can verify from the literature, from the domain, from the management domain, the social sciences domain. And therefore, we are profiling this very solution to each and everyone to be able to experiment and see, because as adults, you have the privilege of making your choice. I mean, it's not just a privilege, it is your right. Choice is a right. And we don't want people to be goaded into some dogmatic ideas. And therefore, it is important for us to be able to understand that sonic therapeutic intervention is something that could help you in promoting a sustainable future. And not only that, see, I have been watching what goes on with managers and leaders on the planet. And what I've observed over the years is that most of these people who are supposedly successful, who have attained the pinnacle of their professional status, they're up there and then they go down the drain within few seconds. I'll give you an example. And I like certain examples. How the deficiency of the practices that help to promote our resistance to temptations, the practices that will enhance our willpower, the practices that will enhance our self-control. When those practices are not there in our lives, we become vulnerable to a negative change of our values, of our position. So a good example is Strauss-Kahn, the 10th director for International Monetary Fund. He's a French guy, and he had a beautiful wife in France. Now he came to New York, and unfortunately for Strauss-Kahn, he got attracted to a maid in the hotel where he was residing. And the police picked him up. You know, in New York, we like this type of things. People come and then they misbehave. Then, the police is there to show them, the right way. He was apprehended, arraigned before the court, prosecuted, found guilty of 3 charges. And he was dumped in Rikers Island. He was jailed in Rikers Island jail. This is somebody who was such an intelligent person, materially speaking. If he's not intelligent, how could he have attained that status of the director for International Monetary Fund? But his career was finished. He went to jail. He lost all of his credibility overnight. Now, this is due to the fact that he was deficient of ethical values, and those ethical values are just concomitant factors to sonic therapeutic intervention practice. I mean, it's like you have a car, and your child likes to play with car tires, or car tubes or tires. When you have, say, a Lamborghini, you don't need to go and buy a tire for your child. There's an extra tire there in the boot of your Lamborghini. Your child could go about to play with the extra tire. That extra tire is a concomitant factor of your Lamborghini. So, similarly, having high self-control and having high willpower, they are concomitant factors to the practice of sonic therapeutic intervention. See, for 40 years, I've been engaged in this practice. Yeah, I have the degrees that other professors have. But you know what? My life is completely different. My values are completely different. And I go to meet some of my friends. And then they ask me, hey, Dr. Dad, what is making you to be so happy? So I share with them, look, I'm a practitioner of sonic therapeutic intervention. You can try it yourself and be able to figure things out. So yeah, we encourage you. It's a practical thing that anyone, and it's cost effective. We are not paying any therapist any money to come and, pay a monthly bill or whatever. Nothing like that. So why don't you try it? You try it. Because if someone on the street is talking to you, may say, come on, you don't have anything to do with your life, and that's why you're urging me, you're soliciting, or you're trying to persuade me to do this stuff. Hey, look, I have over 35 publications in peer-reviewed journals. I'm a doctor of management science. I got invited here and there for presentations. Next month, I'm going to Oxford for a presentation at a World International Conference. And what am I going to present there? Is on sonic therapeutic intervention for preventing leadership sex scandals. Sex scandals has ruined the career of many leaders. You see, you could be involved in sex scandals outside of America, maybe in France. What happened to Strauss-Kahn? If it was in France, no, nobody will care. Nobody will care. But in America, no. We have a high standard. So if you have to live in an American environment, you have to raise your standard. Because if you're an ordinary person, nobody will care. But once you have, I remember the case of one professor at Columbia University in New York. He was having an affair with his daughter. And then, the issue came up. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. You could have all of the high skills, but what you need to protect yourself with is something that will cost you no dime. So we'd like to stop here. Maybe you have any comments or questions. Any comments or questions? Yes.
So, my question is this effect caused by the sound, or it's through repetition of some words which you do in silence? What's the effect? Like you're saying that definitely if you listen to music, your mood changes depends on the music that you hear.
Sure.
You get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm doubting this.
Yeah, music is also a sound therapy. Now, the type of music you listen to will also impact on your behavior. Music also constitutes environment. And according to Professor Lewin in 1938, he developed the field theory. Professor Kurt Lewin is a German psychologist. He developed the field theory which stipulates that environment impacts on our behavior. So music, you're hearing music, is from the environment. Someone is playing, we constitute the environment. What we do, what we generate also constitutes the environment. So yes, music impacts on our behavior. Music, metaphysically speaking, impacts on our kundalini, our metaphysical being. So the type of music you listen to, I can give you an example, okay? Okay. When we were kids, there was this celebrity, Jimmy Cliff. He debuted an album, and one of the hit track, the title was Follow My Mind. You could Google that on the web, Follow My Mind by Jimmy Cliff. Oh, that was a big thing for us young people. When we hear that sound, understanding the lyrics, we say, wow, this person is our divine leader. He says, if I follow my mind, I will never go wrong. If you follow your mind, you will never go wrong. But is it true? It's the opposite. When you read the Vedic literature, especially the works of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, you'll find that following our mind makes us slaves to the dictates of the mind and our senses. And this has been the cause of the downfall of many people. So yes, going back to your question, it is the sound that really creates that positive change. And of course, if even the sound could be audible or unaudible. Because some of the meditations, you can do it without speaking it out. But if it's a transcendental vibration, it does have an effect on our being, whether we muttered it, we audibly say it, or we just say it in the mind. But what we're advocating to get a highest results based on our experiments is audible repetition of these transcendental sound vibrations.
Sorry to interrupt you before, but so just like abstract question long back. So it's just like every the molecule in your body like vibrates at certain vibration level. So music has effect on it, and it comes out on how you behave outside. Shows up outside. So what I'm trying to say is like, do you think like people who what I'm trying to know is people who are on the top of the world, like who was like ruling the world, do you think they have certain exposure to these type of sounds or vibrations that I'm trying to say, like the sound, the music or certain part of vibration?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's a very stimulating question. Now, I know that some of the leaders, some of the world leaders, they are very much inclined in exploring the different ways that they could use the resources of material nature in enhancing or promoting their development. So I know leaders. I'll give an example of, Prime Minister Modi of India. No, he is into it. Modi is a meditator. In fact, if we have leaders on this planet like Modi, the world could be so much transformed. We could gravitate towards transcendence in a way that will help in reinforcing or revamping our higher values. But right now, majority of the people on the planet do not even know, and majority of the leaders do not even know that they imbibe 1/6 of the reactions of all members of their constituency. So that spells doom for leaders. Those leaders who are involved in different ways to raise their consciousness by different type of meditation approaches and all this stuff, they have a better chance, a better opportunity to be able to raise their consciousness and also help in raising the consciousness of those around them. Because whatever the leader does, the followers may want to emulate. So we have some leaders on the planet that I know of. I know even a number of my friends, professors. I remember one of my friends, he was a vice chancellor of a university. He was a staunch therapeutic interventionist. And a number of his predecessors were probed, found guilty, charged, and found guilty for some crimes. He was so ethical. He never got involved in anything. Now it comes with the idea or with the saying that those who have high understanding, those who have higher values, are cultured in ways that they never do anything wrong, they never do anything bad, they never violate the constitution of their country. Because if we don't violate the laws of the higher being or the laws of of divinity that we don't even see, to follow the laws of the Constitution becomes something so simple. So yeah, there are people, there are leaders.
Following those things constrain your perspectives, right? You can't explore much in a restricted domain. You can't go beyond certain limitations. I think like restricting to something that you say ethical or moral, it limits out your your boundaries, limits out your nature. You can't go beyond that.
No. So, see, there are ethical values that every human being should follow, and most laws of different countries' constitutions are simply offshoots of ethical laws. For instance, here in America, I was listening to some a broadcast about some accusations on Nikki Haley's and Fannie Willis. So these are bordering on just some ethical values. But, these are things that we consider to be bad or to be good based on the laws of the country or the laws of the state. And in some states, if a married woman or if a woman or if somebody is involved in an illicit affair with a colleague, it's not considered an offense, except you prove that it violates some type of financial, discrepancies, or it contradicts some financial discrepancies. But in general, we have our limitations. Now, if even we don't follow any norm, we don't follow ethical norms as human beings, there are higher powers that oversee our activities, oversee our affairs. Like we have what is used in overseeing the values of this universe is what we call the laws of man, the Manu Samhita. Now, there are people, there is a policing system that goes on in the universe. Otherwise, what is responsible for someone being born as a child to Barack Obama? And someone being born as, I remember, I wouldn't mention the country. I was traveling in some developing countries. We were on the road. We saw a mad woman. She was heavily pregnant. No, that type of child, when you compare it to the child that was born into Barack Obama's family, how would we say, what can we attribute to that? That there are no laws in the universe? No, the universe is governed by principles. And so we are getting what we are due for. Not everyone is having the opportunity to come to graduate school. And even those coming to graduate school, not everyone has that opportunity to come to MIT or to come to do his graduate studies in Harvard or an Ivy League in the US, for instance, or Oxford. There are some people who never smelled a college campus. Why? So, let's leave that. But, getting to your point, yeah, we have limitations.
So I see the correlation, what you're saying, what you're saying is those who are rich, those who are in the higher positions, did something good, so you should be good to them.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, people who doesn't have a certain logical structure, they can't go beyond some, the literature, and they stick to it, and it leads to more harm than good.
Exactly.
So what do you think? The best thing, what do you say is like the thinking framework on this thing?
Yeah. See, we would say we are we have a life to live, but even within that life, we can reformat it. It's like a hard disk. You you get a computer, and you can reformat the hard disk. Now, you may say, well, I'm fine with this computer, okay? I don't want to reformat the hard disk. Okay, it's up to you. But someone may want to reformat the hard disk to suit their purpose. So we have a life to live, but we can also live our lives in such ways that will enable a more viable, positive leverage of our future life.
So it boils down to the decision making, like how you make decisions during this.
That is so true. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments? Yes.
More from a biology perspective, because I've been into frequencies for like 3 years and consciousness theories. Do you know anything about how this frequency is perceived in our body and what it does with us? And you hear a lot about also these energies, right? When you feel like you know someone already, or you're very attracted to someone, or you're like, or from almost like a past life experience. Or then those are the nice examples, and then the bad examples where they drain you. So you have someone, and after half an hour, you're just like, whoa, I don't feel good, because all your energy's out. And that's probably because you're on a different frequency. Just to add to this, there's this researcher at Columbia, I don't know if you know her, Lisa Miller, and she's looking at spirituality, and then how depression impacts people that are either spiritual or non-spiritual, like believe in God or not in God. And she can change that, she can show that the frequency of your hindbrain in the back matches the Earth's crust's frequency, I don't know, 700 hertz or 713 or something. And then those people are less depressed, or they don't see the depression as a depression because anyway, their brain is on a different frequency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know if do you talk to people about this? Do you know anything?
I have some understanding about the relationship between the body vibrational frequency with our what we experience in our real lives in terms of interactions and all this stuff. And the basic idea of fundamental principle there is that even our interactions with people is based on the type of life we have set up, or the type of life we have lived, and so we have been put in a particular environment to experience a particular type of situation. But in most cases, we don't really seem to know why we are born in a particular environment. For instance, if someone is born in America, someone is born in a country where, there's so much of, economic crisis and all this stuff. Now, in America, if you don't go to school, if you don't go to college, you have so much of facilities. You can depend on the government. Okay, I know people who just, they have sex and produce children, and, like in England, one boy was telling me how he challenged his parents. Parents were taking money from the government, and then he told them that you are fit to do it, to work. Why are you taking money from the government? And they checked him out of the house. So here you find people, they may be born in the same environment, but they have different consciousness, different reasoning, different way they perceive things. So our perceptions are completely different, but that is due to how we have built up our awareness from past experiences and our present participation in higher values. And so, those researchers are coming up with different things. I don't really, I've not read this very report from this researcher, but researchers have come up with so many things that are hinging on transcendence and spirituality. Yeah. And that is why when we read also the ancient Vedic literatures, for instance, the Puranas of the sub-Indian continent, especially the works of Srila Vasudev and the present works of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, we find that so much of, correlation between the conscious awareness of the present and that which has been delineated in the Puranas of ancient India. Yeah. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, have you heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, Bhagavad Gita is one classical literature that I recommend people should read, especially the commentaries of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Though that literature actually changed my life.
How so?
Because, see, when I was growing up, I had an uncle who was so much dear to me, and I loved him so much. Now, when I was in grade 4, my 4th grade, I came back from school, and then they told me, oh, uncle is dead. They're not dead. They said he's gone. So I didn't understand what, my aunties and the rest, what they meant by someone is gone. So I just went straight to his room. I went to his room, and then I saw him. I saw people were surrounding his bed, and he was lying on a bed. He was not moving. So then I told my auntie that, you said he's gone. Look at him here. And then he said, oh, you're a small boy, you don't understand. That's how I got to understand. Through my investigation, they say someone is gone. Where does he go? They say he's dead. So I kept asking my teachers, family members, when someone dies, what has really happened? There was no answer. Until I read A.C. Bhaktivedanta's commentaries of the Bhagavad Gita. Then that really blew my mind up. All the questions that were bothering me from my tender age, all of them were answered. That is why, as a scholar, I recommend Bhagavad Gita for people to explore, to read and see, correlate with what you're experiencing in a present-day activities. Because just like the concept of change is delineated in the Bhagavad Gita, Dehi nosmi yata dehe, kumara yavanamjara, tata dehantara praptis, dhirasthatana moyati. That change is a constant. The variable is the object of change. We find ourselves changing from boyhood to youth to old age. And then at some point in time, the physical body is no longer inhabitable, it falls apart. What is missing? The elements are there. What is missing? That's where we are still groping to figure out. If you ask doctors this, they say, yes, something is missing, but we don't know yet.
Nobody has a clue.
So why is it a mystery? It can be open, right? So everyone can experience it. Being a mystery.
So when you read the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, you will have some glimpses into this whole concept of the difference between a dead body and a living body. Because also, psychologists have done researches and proven the validity of life after death, for instance, reincarnation. So much of research has been conducted on life after death, and that has become like an acceptable phenomenon even in the sciences. So, yeah, we need to know we need to investigate much more about our being. Because there are some of the things that we need to know that could help us buttress our learning process, buttress our attempt to protect ourselves from becoming statistics. Because many people, they go to the top of the pinnacle of their profession, they become statistics. We intelligent people should strategize ways to avoid being statistics. And one of those ways is to explore the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. And then you'll be able to understand how your pristine identity, where you're coming from, where you're going after now, what's your relationship with everyone else. In fact, if you understand the message of the Gita, there will be no struggle about international peace. But because we don't even understand our present identity, and then we're trying to solve the problems of the world. How does that work? If I see you as a white woman, and I see myself as a black man, basically, I will see you like a threat to me. But if I see you as a transcendental entity, spiritual entity, wearing a white jacket, no, I can be free with you. We are one family.
But we need to teach this.
Yeah.
But going to these universities, I've been living in 2 different continents everywhere. Nobody teaches how to be human or how to have a soul. We all want to look good. We all want to have this brilliant mind. But then what is this here constantly talking to you?
I got you. I got you. This is the whole thing. This is the whole thing. If we have that fundamental knowledge, that will help us to build a very sustainable society. Then all of this, in-house fighting, out-house fighting will not be there. So yeah, you're right. So I recommend you guys see. I think I am somebody that can convince anybody here. You are all scholars, okay? So you see, if you see someone on the street coming to talk to you, you say, this guy, he doesn't have anything to do with his life. So yeah, but if you have your colleague, a professional colleague, talking to you about his own experience, then that is something worthy to listen. Your point is very valid. And that is exactly the gap we have in our setting, in our societies. That teaching is not being emphasized, it's not being delineated, it's not being propagated. Therefore, we have all of these conflicts right from the family to the community to the societies to the nation. So you're right. So to arrange for Bhagavad Gita for this year.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for teaching.
You're welcome.
We need more.
Yeah, I give you my contact. You can reach out to me. And these boys, they're been into this system for a long time, and they could also help. They live in Boston here. I'm going out from Boston on Saturday to New Jersey. From New Jersey, I'm going to London. And then from London, I'll be traveling to Southeast Asia. I will come back to America maybe late April or early May. And I hope to be able to come back to Boston. But, I give you my contact. And then these guys, I want them to also give you that book I was referring to, classical literature, Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, any other comments or questions? And just in case you're feeling shy to ask a question, you could take my email, v16108@outlook.com. V as in victory, 16108@outlook.com. All right, in the absence of any other comments or questions, we'd like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much again for participating. I need to use the restroom. Where is this guy?
Part.
So this guy can turn us.
Can you tell the restroom? Did you like it?